I'm going to share from my own personal experience this week, and it is not to influence your experience or your views. I just want to share from my experience. Um, I had a hard week this week. The news, politics, the state of the world. I found myself spiraling a lot this week, and that spiral was down. And it was also up in like anger up, but mostly down, mostly feeling confused and full of grief and hopelessness and um, all sorts of things. And so I really leaned into my mindfulness practice this week. I really leaned in because I needed it so badly. And what I found is I was also recording the Rewired podcast, which will come out later today. And I was kind of focusing on that. And it brought me back to these foundations of mindfulness. And so I'm going to share that this morning and kind of guide you through it and use my own example, my own state of being this week as an example. So what we know from research is that neuroscience, that mindfulness, when it's studied through the lens of neuroscience, what we see is that mindfulness changes our brain. It literally, physically changes our brain. So we can watch it on an fMRI. We have more activity in our self-regulation regions. We have the ability to hold perceived threats a bit longer to decide which part of the brain we should be responding or reacting to this perceived threat. We have stronger connections and more neuron connections in our filter of the stimuli we're receiving, so what we're focusing on and paying attention. And the result of all those things are really three particular skills, I would say, that come out of the changing of a brain that focuses and practices mindfulness regularly. And that is self-awareness, metacognition, and curiosity. And you've heard me talk about this before, but for me, it was really important to lean on that this week. So I think it's worth highlighting. So for me, I would hear the news. I drop my kiddo off at school and I listen to the news from 8 to 8:30 on my way back to the office. And every morning, I would do that. And I would start to spiral up and down and all around and inward and outward and everywhere in between. And what I would lean into is the self-awareness. I would ask myself things like, what is present for me right now? I would begin to notice this like burning in my stomach. I would begin to notice this tiredness that was setting in on me. I just wanted to go lay down. I wanted to check out. I noticed that I was angry, like sparky inside. I was noticing. So when I called my attention to it, what's happening within me right now? That's the self-awareness. And then I moved to metacognition purposefully. I would walk myself through this. Okay, what metacognition is thinking about my thinking. So I'm feeling this way. What are the thoughts that are driving this? And as I would go deeper into it, it was inevitably cognitive distortions, like we are, the world is crazy. Everyone is full of hate. Nobody is noticing what's happening to our democracy. Like all of these, everybody's nobody's all the time, never. And so then I could move to curiosity, which was to say, is that really true? Is the world full of hate? Is that really true? No. I can look around and I can see evidence of love. I mean, I'm getting teary just thinking about it. Like it's everywhere, especially in the worlds that I work in these workforce development and social services and the family that I'm a part of and the communities that I'm a part of and people celebrating and checking in with each other and bringing each other meals when they're sick. And people stop. I live in a town. I live rurally, and I'm right next to a town that has perhaps a higher deer population and wild turkey population than people population. And every day I see people stopping and waiting for the mama deer and the baby deers to cross and the 25 wild turkeys. And that's love. And it's everywhere. And it's so noticing those things helps me when I get into those distorted places to remind myself that that's just my armor. That's just my brain trying to protect itself. So it's been a really helpful practice, and it's been one that I have had to return to multiple times this week. And again, it isn't to influence your experience or how you're perceiving the experiences that are happening in the world right now, but inevitably there'll be something, right? And the practice of being able to dive into self-awareness, metacognition, and then curiosity is a superpower for sure. So let's strengthen that muscle this morning. You can close your eyes or take a soft gaze. You might roll your shoulders or just adjust your body. This week I spent a lot of time just literally shaking my hands and moving my head side to side and bouncing a little bit to try to get grounded, to feel this body in this moment, to discharge some of the energy. So do whatever you need to do this morning to land. And a big audible exhale if you can. I know not all of you are in places where you can do that, but if you can, breathing in fully and then letting go fully. And then when you're ready, bringing your attention right now into kind of that solar plexus region. It's, your chest, your belly, bringing this place into your focus. You might even put your hands on these areas if you would like to or are able to. Feeling your breath. Feeling your heartbeat. Feeling the very essence of your life. I think of this as a power region. When I'm angry, I expose this, I stick it out, I move forward with that region exposed. Or if I'm feeling proud, I expose this region. It's also a very vulnerable region. It's where we connect when we hug. It's that metaphorical place of relationship and love and grief and heartache. Just bring your attention to this region, and this is going to be our anchor. And our whole practice this morning is just to keep our focus here. And you can do it through visualization, through the tactile experience of your hands on your chest, through the process of breathing. You choose, and you can change it up. And I'm going to fall silent for a moment. And your brain will probably wander. And when it does, just notice And gently, lovingly, kindly bring your attention back to this breath, to this heartbeat, to this region. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. And there's no right or wrong amount of times that you might notice your mind has wandered and you bring it back. It might be 2, it might be 20. Continuing to bring your focus back to your solar plexus. And then when you're ready, start to allow your focus to just release a little. If you've had your hands on your chest and or your belly, feel free to drop those. Returning to your normal breath. Just giving yourself any amount of self-love, self-kindness, self-acceptance, curiosity. Taking these final moments together to grab whatever tools you want from this practice to bring with you through the day. And I'm reminding myself today, right now, before I open my eyes, that the world is full of love. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back together. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me.